coming into the natural rhythm of your breath now, honoring that sacred space, that guru that's available for you to seek when you need. We slowly open our eyes with a big smile on our faces, offering love around you. Look all around you and notice the beautiful faces behind you, in the back of the room. Heart full of gratitude. Did you feel how that creates a sudden energization in your body? Could you feel it? Yeah? No, ma'am? Yes, my name is Mansi, not ma'am. Okay, so we have a super interesting session for the first day of the Women Economic Forum, or the first session on day 2. We are talking about an interdependent world. But how important in an interdependent world is it to support each other? So we're talking about holding each other up, creating that safe space, that space to really carry the friends, the sisters, the brothers, the parents, and the whole family of humanity that exists around us on our shoulders. So if we could help me in welcoming our speakers for the first session, it's my privilege to invite Dr. Sankaran Raghunathan. He is the Dean of the National Management School, and it's a privilege to have Sankaran on the stage this morning with us, opening this session. Please have a seat, sir. Tara Chatur Menon, welcoming the lovely Tara. She's a senior special correspondent at the Hindavada. She is a journalist who is not afraid to turn the spotlight on issues, tribal issues, violence against women issues, human rights issues all over our country, especially in indigenous areas where she travels. What a privilege to have you with us. Thank you. Trina Talukdar. She'll join us in a few moments. In the meantime, I will invite Dr. Sankaran to share his journey and share his insights on our topic this morning. Welcoming you, sir.
Good morning to all of you here. Good morning. I was wondering how to start my speech or address or whatever you may call it. And as I normally do, good thoughts come at the very end. and I think I have a good start for this. So I'm going to ask Mr. Balaji to help me start. Okay?
Which means I am a world citizen. Every citizen is my own kith and kin.
You can all dance if you want, I cannot. Okay?
യാതുമൂരേ യാവരും കേളി തീതും നങ്കും തിരത്തരവാര നോദലും തണിതലും അവറ്റോരന്ന നോദലും തണിതലും അവറ്റോരന്ന സാദലും പുതുവ இளமே இனிதென மகிழ்ந்தென்றும் இளமே உன்னில் இன்னாதென்றலும் இளமே இன்னாதென்றலும் இளமே யாரும் ஊரே யாவரும் கேளி தீதும் நன்றும் பிறந்த மின்னொடு வானம் தந்துளி தலையானது மின்னொடு வானம் தந்துளி தலையானது கல் பொருது வீரங்கு மன்னர் பெரியாச்சு நீர் வழிபாடும் பூனை போலாருயிர் பூனை வழிபாடும் என்பது திறமோ காட்சியில் தெளிந்தனம் மாட்சியின் பெரியோரை திகத்தலும் இளமே சிறியோரை இகழ்தல் அதனிலும் இளமே அதனிலும் இளமே
யாரம் ஊரே யாவரும் கேளே யாரம் ஊரே யாவரும் கேளே யாரம் 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 ஊரே யாரம் 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 ஊரே
யாரூரே யாவரும் கேளி தீதும் நன்றும் பிறத்தரவா யாரூரே யாவரும் கேளி தீதும் நன்றும் பிறத்தரவாரா தீதும் நன்றும் பிறத்தரவாரா பிறத்தரவாரா
How was it? You know, believe me, this is the first time I'm seeing it fully along with all of you. So I thought this is a good way to start this session whose title is Interdependent World. And hopefully by the end of my speech, I would have rephrased it universal world rather than interdependent world. Okay? And I thought this is a nice way to start in Madurai, which is the Sangam city, where Puranaru poem was written by this philosopher, and this captures the essence of what I'm going to talk about. Okay, you know, this theme of shine, support, harmony, inclusiveness, nurturing, and empower. I thought that is effectively captured by this first line of the poem, Yadum Ure Yavarum Kalir, where we are all related in this one universal place. Okay, and as part of this Women Economic Forum. In fact, I put up on my Facebook post that I'm speaking at WEF, and everyone thought that I'm in Davos speaking, and they couldn't believe that I'm actually there. Then I put this name tag to show where I am. Okay, so where this WEF is meant for connections, networking. All that is good. Connections are good. interconnections perhaps better, interdependence perhaps is the best, okay? But I'm hopefully going to make you think about universality, which I think is the ultimate that we should all seek, okay? So being the professor I am, I may get into a bit of a definition and so on. So I started thinking when you gave me the title, Mamta, as to what this interdependent world will look like. How will it work, right? And that has been most of my research work over the last 30, 35 years. And I'll tell you how I got into it as well, primarily because she said I should talk about my journey into this as well. With more than 190 plus countries, nobody knows how many countries are there in the world, because we may come up with one new one, which some would recognize and others would frown upon. So with 190 plus countries, how will this interdependent world be? You know, and for that, if you go back to think about how we were, perhaps almost all of us were insulated, okay? In fact, some countries are still insulated. So from an insulated world, we are moving towards an ultimate. There's a journey which is going on. There are experiments in all spheres of life, both economic and otherwise, that people are experimenting in this journey. So from a very insulated world, where all these countries were primarily inwardly focused, we have started moving, and perhaps we became an independent world where we were all independent countries. Then slowly realized that being independent, following mercantilist policies of trade and trying to build the wealth of nations, we slowly became a dependent world where people realized and rulers realized that not all resources are available with each one of us, so it became a dependent world, and in the dependent world there were actions that were more exploitative and subservient in nature, as opposed to an independent world where it was non-inclusive, in a sense alienated world. So we better to have dependence than independence perhaps. And then people realize that we are not really either independent or dependent, we are interdependent, where we started moving towards an inclusive world, one of the themes of Shine, and to think about all of us as being equal, where we all have things to share. But from an interdependent world, where I think the world is going, and I definitely see in my own research actions towards that, is a one world phenomena, okay, where we are all one, and that's why I chose the theme of Yadam Ure Yavarum Kelir. So I think this universal thing is what most economists and business people call globalization, where there's one world rather than a world of 190 plus countries. So if we are moving towards that oneness of a truly globalized world, what will that world look like? Is what I started seeking an answer to from 1983 onwards. When there was a news item, I was doing my MBA in XLRI in Jamshedpur, there was a news item one morning, and it said there is this guy who was given this world title of a world citizen. He was given this title of a world citizen, and he could go to any place in the world without a visa. I said, wow, wouldn't that be wonderful? How can I get that? Do you know who that gentleman is? Who got this world title? He could go all around brokering peace. Muhammad Ali, the boxer, was given that title, okay? So I said, wow, that's wonderful. And as I was mulling over this concept of a global citizen, another news item came a few months later, and this time, here was this wonderful lady from Calcutta who was given the same title. Do you know who that woman is? Mother Teresa, of course. From Calcutta, you guys should know, right? So I said, wow, here is the second person. Can I be the third? Was my quest, okay? So from then on, I started thinking about how can one be global? I was always feeling constrained within this national boundaries that we have, which is a man-made concept. So that is how my interest in international business and globalization started, and I started looking at how can companies be global. You know, today we say Citibank is global, but it's an American bank. Maybe 91% is owned by Americans and 9% by a sheikh somewhere in the Middle East. but most companies, while they call themselves global, they are rooted somewhere. So when the French farmers don't like the American policy in agriculture, whom do they pick to vandalize? The symbol of America, which is Coca-Cola, the machines are vandalized because that for them is America. But I'm saying if all of them can take Coca-Cola or any of these companies as part of theirs, then they may not vandalize. There's nothing like American symbol or an Indian symbol or a Japanese symbol and so on. So my question was, how can companies be global? And that is what I continue to do. And in all these 35 years, while there are experiments in that realm, we have still not reached that ultimate state of globalization. So as we move towards universality from this state of interdependence, we should look at universality of countries, of genders, which is what this poem was referring to, of religion, of ideologies, and cultures. I see the bell has rung. So I had made only 5 sheets for 5 minutes, and I think I'm slowly overrunning, and I'll finish it. So how do we achieve this Yadam Ure Yavarum Kelir? To me, how can we take Coca-Cola as ours? How can we take AT&T as ours? How can we take Citibank or Honda or Infosys as ours if we own them? So I seek this universality through ownership as a medium, because it's a very philosophical and psychological concept. If you look at a child, till the child reaches 2 years, it doesn't have the word mine. By the time it crosses age 2, everything is mine. Okay. Before 2, it doesn't have that word, right? So ownership to me is a very fundamental psychological and philosophical and definitely an economic concept. And I think if we start owning, if we start sharing rather than owning, then we can quickly reach that state of universality. And therefore, what currently is going on in the other WEF at this stage is important that we redefine. Instead of FDI, foreign direct investment, where foreign companies want to own things here, I think we should redefine that as URI, as universal related investment. So this way, we start owning each other's, and that sharing, which is part of your theme in Shining, is where I think we are moving towards, where in a shared ownership, we bring in shared prosperity, and that is the primary vision of globalization. So if we can move towards that, I think our interdependent or universal world will be there to support all of us. Thank you for...
Thank you, Dr. Sankar, for reclaiming interdependence with universality, because I do think that encapsulates the entire gamut of the human design. So thank you for really initiating this conversation this day on that beautifully universal note. Thank you, appreciate it. I'd like to welcome another speaker who's just joined us, welcoming Trina Talukdar. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to this lovely lady. Join me on the stage. No ordinary woman, this one. She's the co-founder of Kranti, a non-profit. Okay, I will let you tell your story. Yes, because it's what they're doing is creating change at the grassroots levels, and I'm speechless because it's so powerful, the work they do. They work in the traffic. Yes, so you know what I mean. In Kalighat, in the red light area, uplifting the trafficked women and, giving them education, giving them global exposure. And we'll meet Jayashree. We'll meet her in the next session as well. She's a prodigy. She's a work of what Kalika does, Kranti does. So it's really an honor to have her here. Trina, would you like to say your story in a much better way? Please. Yes, please do. Come.
I will get to my story in a bit, but I wanted to start with something slightly different. So when I first saw this topic, why is it important for us to support each other in the world we live today? And I started thinking of all the biggest social changes or just any change that I had witnessed in my lifetime or even going back a 50 and 100 years. And I said, okay, let me look at the biggest changes that we have witnessed as a world, and let's look at how they really happened. And what can we learn about change from there, right? So let me start by asking you. Tell me some of the biggest changes you have seen in your countries, regions, in your lifetimes, or have just heard of. What are your favorite changes? Let me put it that way. Just shout some things out to me. Yes, absolutely. Women coming out to work more. There's conversations around equal pay, so many things, right? Maternity leave, etc. What else? Yes. The smartphone, excellent. Yes, absolutely, no doubt has changed all of our lives more than anything else I have known in my lifetime. What else?
The Women Economic Forum.
Yes! Yes, big round for that. A couple more, and then I'll make my point, I promise. Couple more. The internet, absolutely, right? Smartphone plus internet revolutionized the world. Yes. Wonderful. I want to talk about that later, separately. Let's do that. Yes.
Just how small the world is because
We're so interconnected. Absolutely, absolutely, right? And again, thanks to the internet, thanks to the smartphone, thanks to the fact that women and men can both get out and network and all of these things, right? And so, absolutely, exactly. That's a wonderful way to put it. And so then I started looking at all these changes and I said, who was behind them? You know, if I can ask, who caused the smartphone revolution? Do you know so? Is there a name we can put to that? A name? Hard. Yeah. What about if I said, who is the one single person who made sure women have equal opportunity at work? Do we know an answer to that? We don't, right? And it's the same, and even in my head as I was thinking about this, and I thought about the biggest changes we've seen, be it social change, be it in technology, be it in whatever, it's impossible to put a single name behind any of these changes, right? And I think that to me was just proof that how can we expect to do anything on our own when there's no evidence of any one single person without support having caused any change, right? And all of us are in this room today because we're working on bringing some kind of change. You know, some of us are trying to bring in a new social consciousness, and some of us are working on opportunities for women and technology and social enterprise and so many different things, right? Scientific advancement, everything. And if we are, and I'm sure all of us in this room one day hope that 50 years later, when someone else stands on stage and asks the question, name some of the biggest changes you've seen, the change you're trying to bring should come up in the room. We hope for that, right? And if we want that to happen, there is not going to be a single name behind it. It's not going to be just our name, because it's not been that way in history, and that's what we learn. And to me, that was just such an obvious way to answer the question why it's important for us to support each other, because that's really the only way we've been able to cause any long-standing, large-scale change that generations after us will remember. And then, sort of from thinking about this global context of all these different changes, I started thinking about myself. I came super micro, and I said, you know, where would I be today if I wasn't supported. So what is your name? Mansi. Mansi did such a lovely job of introducing me. And so, yes, I started an organization called Kranti, not alone, with a group of co-founders at the age of 22 in Mumbai. And we were a little bit unhappy with the work being done with victims of sex trafficking around the country. We felt like there weren't enough opportunities for these girls, right? Because we were living in a world where when it came to working with women who'd been trafficked into sex work, girls growing up in the red light area, the best options for them seemed to be learn to make achar, papad, candle, embroidery, which is all wonderful if that is what they really want to do. But it is not so wonderful to tell them these are the only 3 options you have in life. Choose pickle, embroidery, or papad, right? And so we said, you know, we were young. The advantage of being 22 is you're stupid, and you have no idea what's going to hit you. So when you're 22, you're like, yeah, let's totally start an organization and bring in lots of girls from the red light area and change their lives. That sounds really easy. So we did that, and we struggled, right? I mean, I don't even have to tell you this. All of you probably have very similar stories. Maybe the age is a little different, what you were starting is a little different, but I know all of you have similar stories. And so I would try and go talk to, you know, government ministries, departments for our registration, try and talk to lawyers, try to find a home. And I would walk in and they would look at 22-year-old me, and I have blue hair now, I had red hair then, so it wasn't that different. And they wouldn't believe that I could do this, or they wouldn't believe that it was possible for anyone to do this, let alone this 22-year-old girl. And so it's really funny because I had mantralaya clothes. My girls at Kranti would always make fun of me. They would say, you know, I would have this like white salwar kurta with like tiranga dupatta. I'm not kidding. And every time my girls woke up in the morning and saw me wear that, they're like, are you going to the ministry today? Like, yeah, and glasses. And I tried my best to look older, to be taken more seriously. And I would try and send my co-founder to these meetings a lot, who in my eyes was older, so people would take her seriously, but she was 25. So that didn't go too well either. And so like a couple of stories really stick out in my head, right, about how we were trying to find a house for all of the girls to live in, for them to have a safe home where they can then start getting educated, so on and so forth. And someone told me like, oh, like house in Bombay, that's just too expensive. Why don't you rent like a garage or something? That's still better for these girls than what they've had. You know, a lot of people I had a huge challenge admitting these girls in school because they don't have like TC, school leaving certificate. They've never been to school before, right? And so I had a really difficult time admitting them in school. And there were school principals who told me that these girls, like, I feel terrible saying these words, but I was told, and not by one person, that these girls' brains are not ready for education, right? So it was really, really difficult. And while on one hand there were these really difficult stories, the reason I'm standing here today, this was 8 years ago by the way, the reason I'm standing here today, and you'll meet Jayashree, who grew up in the red light area in Mumbai, and she's giving a few talks here today, and she gave a talk yesterday, I don't know if you heard it, she's just finished class 12th and is waiting to, oh, that's Jayashree! What timing! Right. And the reason that, you know, 8 years in, I'm here and she's here is because I found incredible people to also support me. I found people who were willing to fund us when we had no registration, no tax exempt status. I found people who were willing to give us money just on faith. I found people who were willing to rent out their home to us, knowing who was going to live in it and how we were going to. It's difficult in Bombay for normal, like just working professionals to find a home. Try and going telling people I'm going to have 30 women from the red light area living in this apartment. You should really try that in Bombay sometimes, just for fun. But I found incredible people, right? Like we've had a home. We have a home. found people to do that. I found people who said, you're not getting them admitted in mainstream school, but I run this school after classes. Do you want to send your girls to this school? Teach for India came forward and said, send all your girls to our classrooms, right? And so while there were some difficult experiences of people not trusting and believing and supporting, what really stays in my mind, the memories that I will continue to remember, are the ones where I felt very supported by all these people around me who just put their blind faith in me, the idea, the girls, everyone who was working towards it. And so, one last sentence, that timing was perfect too. no, that timing is perfect too. And that's all I want to say, that I think I was absolutely, I hadn't really thought of this question in this sense before, but then when I had to talk about it, and I thought of both what's happening globally as well as looked at my own life, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that we can only get somewhere even close to where we want to when we support each other. No one got there alone. Thank you.
Trina, you are a reverberating celebration of saying yes to life, to rising to the call of within. We salute you, we salute your spirit and the work you do. It makes us proud that today is Republic Day and you're here, and you're all here, and we're witnessing this and we're a part of this revelation altogether. So thank you for being you. Thank you. Speaking of swimming upstream, we have this amazing journalist who fights against all odds to make the dreams of indigenous communities in far-flung areas of India come true and to justice. Please welcome Tara Chittoor Menon.
Good morning, all of you. First of all, happy Republic Day. Yeah, thank you, Mansi. Thank you, Mamta. Thank you, Harveen Arora ji, for this opportunity. And it's quite, I'm really lucky that I am speaking to a bunch of powerful ladies and gentlemen, in fact, humans, children, all are there. So it's a global world. So I'm quite lucky that I'm addressing this on Republic Day. So, okay, I would like to keep my things very precise, okay. So I'm here to talk about, in an interdependent world, how important is to support each other's initiative. Okay, so at personal and professional, at both the levels, there is a necessity that we should support each other's initiative. Now at professional level, I'll tell you that I come from area where rape cases are highest, okay, crime against women and children is highest. We are also known as rape capital city of the country. I don't want to take this ambience to a negative side, but at least we should face the facts, right? I come from area where daily, like, how are you doing, like that, we need to ask in the newsroom, how many rapes? It's very common. Daily one rape is mandatory. Mandatory means it happens, and then child rape is like, in 2 days, child rape cases are there. And the age, there is no age criteria, from 1 month to, it goes till 12, okay. Now, I won't say I'm fortunate, but then the things, when you deal with such cases of child rape and their survivors, and at times you get into the human rights angle also, and you need to look at the accused level as well. So there are a lot of things happening in our head. As a media person, I'm telling you the complexities we have, we have such, I was listening to all the speakers are wonderful, and I would look forward to get some details from you also, because I remember speaking to someone from, I'm not sure, Kalin, last Global Engage Forum. Okay, that we'll talk later on. So, like, the moment we say that we are from media or we are journalists, most of the people are like, they start with media bashing. Oh, journalist, ethics, nothing is going on. I got a gentleman there, he's also started. Nothing offensive about it, because I meet such people daily. But you know what, without the support of people, whom we are writing for at the end of the day? This is, we need the support of people, right? So professional level, when I cover, for example, tribal right issues, if I don't get a proper network of the tribal right readers, the leaders who are working at ground level, what kind of report that will be? That won't be an in-depth reporting, right? And then when I go for when the report gets published and then policy formation, at the policy formation level, it is very necessary to have an inclusive approach. Now, this is not only about tribal rights, this is also about women rights, this is also about crime against women and children. Because unless we get their opinion, how can we make difference? How can I make difference unless I get a proper network of him or her, or even all the people, including the children. Children are wonderful. They can, they are the power bund. They have so much ideas, not only ideas, they come up with such substantial suggestions, which you can't even think of. At least at child rape cases, when you educate the teenage boys about it, I just want to example, last time I was in Global Men Engage Forum, I could see the crime rate, how it got reduced when teenage boys were taught about proper sex education. Because a lot of cases were there where they were eloping and these guys don't know how to do proper, and then the girl child suffering throughout her life. So there are various ways, various initiatives, but without a proper network, it's not possible. So at if I would like to divide my speech into the professional things into 4 things, it would be like to enhance one's own skill. The network is needed. This is applicable to each one of us here. If we want to improvise our work style, we need to get into a network. Now, to develop community network, yes. To develop community network, it is necessary that interdependent world, we need to have an inclusive approach, a welcome approach from whatever suggestion we are getting. It's not necessary we will take it into account, all the suggestions, but at least listen to the opinions. That's very much important. Just because this lady is not saying the way I want her to say, that doesn't mean that point is not valid. It may be valid, okay? And to hit the target audience in more impactful manner. Now, when I say audience here, it's like in corporate sector, it's audience, it's taken in a very different level. But here what I mean is target audience in the sense, the person who are the beneficiaries. For example, if I'm writing about marginalized sector, I've done tribal reporting of not only of centralized India, but also of southern India like Kerala and all. Their issues are entirely different, but somewhere there is similarity also. But unless you take their opinion, you cannot make a powerful impact, okay? Yeah, and now I'll get into the personal level. By personal level, it is important. Now, this is very personal, but then I thought of sharing it with all of you. This is my first public speaking after a disaster. I faced a disaster last year. Okay, last year around same month in January, I lost my husband. Okay, he's 37. I was listening to your brother, that health and all. That's very vital. The age is not a factor right now. Age is definitely not a factor. He lost to health problems. So after that disaster, do you think without a proper network or without the support, I'll be standing here addressing you? It's next to impossible. I won't be here. I may be doing my work, but I won't be in a position to, address a public gathering, to press conference, because at mental level, there are so many blocks, it stops you. The memory pulls you back. And when this happens, the only powerful thing which helps you is the support. The network which you have developed, either at personal level or professional level. So I appeal to all of you to cherish this network properly and channelize the energy in most effective manner what's possible. And last but not least, one more thing what I want to say is that, I was listening to Kamala Tyagarajan and Soma Basu yesterday, and all the speakers were too good. I mean, I cannot say one or two, but just because they are from my fraternity, I would like to say, there are people who are doing, I'm no match to them, but development beats. There is something known as development beat also, We take issues of, like she was talking about female infanticide, and I've covered a lot of issues against like rape cases and all. So these are very, even when we cover this story, there is no fun or anything in it. Fun, forget the word fun. I'm not getting the right word. But what I mean to say is that it's so depressing and sickening at times. Just like the doctor fraternity, every time they are meeting cancer patient, just imagine if every second, third day, if we are being exposed to a child rape case, and we are hunting to know whether it is molestation, whether it is child rape, and then we are ready, medical test ho gaya kya? You know, medical test is necessary. Within an hour, you need to get under medical test. Otherwise, the accused, you cannot, there are many flaws in the legal system. You cannot legally punish the accused. So within a day, the medical lab need to confirm it as rape. So to hunt all this crucial, vital is really sickening, but I'm really happy that I get support of all of you people like you, and that's why I want to say that this is very much important, and that's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tara, for that very honest sharing and for trusting us to open up your heart and soul. Thank you. We celebrate your work and your life. Thank you. We'd like to honor each one of you this morning. I welcome the Global Chairperson of the All Ladies League and the Women Economic Forum to take the main stage. Please welcome Dr. Harbeen Arora this morning. And I also welcome Robin. Robin, where are you? There you are. Please join us on the stage to give away the awards. You will meet with this amazing lady today. Don't miss her session. She's an icon of a woman traveling all the way from United States of America to be with us. I'd like to call upon Dr. Sankaran Raghunathan to please accept this award as an exceptional leader of excellence. All the students in the back, can I request you to shine your light? Yes. Calling upon Trina Talukdar. We congratulate you for the work you do at Kranti, keeping the fire alive for India, being a torchbearer. Tara Chetur Menon, please put your hands together for this amazing woman. She is an exceptional woman of excellence at the Women Economic Forum in Madurai 2020. And the rest of us, we're going to make music now. So, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Change. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. No, wait.